It's early September, and I wanted to do some films recommending some back-to-school type of horror films. And how I'm going to do it is I'm going to go over these posters. Just a few. I mean, these are the ones that remind me of the September-October era. And not necessarily naming off every school-themed horror movie. So these are some films I like to watch this time of year. Let's start off with Urban Legend 1998. If you've always put off this one, you gotta check this out. I know everyone's pretty much seen it. It's a whodunit slasher. Jared Leto, Tara Reid. It was basically a TriStar's cash grab attempt off the success of when the slasher genre came back off of Scream 1996. Awesome whodunit film. Robert Englund plays a professor. A bunch of awesome scenery shots around campus. It really gives you that back-to-school college feel. Moving on, and then there's a sequel that's pretty good too. There's actually 2 direct-to-DVD sequels. Even though they're direct-to-DVD, they're pretty decent. The House and Sorority Row franchise. Let's start with the original from 1983. It might not be my favorite 80s slasher, but I like it a lot. It is also a whodunit mystery. And even though it's more of a spring feel, I always watch it around this time of year. And it's coming up on its 30-year anniversary. Then there's the toilet in the head scene. Or the head in the toilet scene. Death scene. Worth watching. But I also really love the remake. Even though a lot of people hate it. I thought it was pretty awesome. That's also another whodunit killer where everyone's getting hacked up. You don't know who the killer is. That one came out in 2009. Alright, moving on. Continuing with the sorority themed horror films. Let's start with Sorority House Massacre 2. Now the first one you could pretty much skip because the second one has nothing to do with the first one. And the second one's just amazing. Even though it has like stock footage of like Slumber Party Massacre, another franchise that they incorporated, so it's really confusing if you watch it that way. But anyway, it's about these girls who buy this condemned house. It's really dilapidated and they're fixing it up for their new sorority house, and it takes place all in one night. It just so happens that they're moving in. The house was owned by a serial killer who would use that house to kill his victims. They end up busting out the Ouija board. An amazing ending. There's a whole bunch of nudity in it, and it's easy and quick to watch. Only an hour and 20 something minutes. Only an hour and 18 minutes or something. Then on the right here, Leighton Meester, circa 2007. It's a Lifetime movie, The Haunting of Sorority Row. But that's all you have to say. Leighton Meester, 2007. From Gossip Girl, smoking hot. Definitely worth watching just because of that. That came out in 2007. Not the best, but it still entertains you for a good hour and a half. Alright, let's move on. Let's start with this one on the left here. Cutting Class from 1989. This is only for veterans who are used to seeing. If you're used to the late 80s cheesy horror films from the late 80s and you could withstand it, and if you're a Brad Pitt fan, this is one of Brad Pitt's first earlier film roles. It's a whodunit slasher. I love the villain in this. A lot of it's pretty terrible and it's got a lot of comedy in it, but the last 20 minutes where it reveals the killer and he goes off in the science room and kills the science teacher and shit like that, and he says a bunch of dope lines. That's an awesome one. Then on the right here, The Faculty. This is Robert Rodriguez. This is where the teachers turn into aliens. It's got Elijah Wood, Usher, Jordana Brewster, Robert Rodriguez, great filmmaker, awesome thriller. Josh Hartnett. This is right, like, coming off of H2O and whatnot when he was, like, getting hired for everything back then. Decent movie to watch once every 6 years or so. It's been on TV for the longest time. I'm pretty sure everyone's seen it by now. Return to Horror High, 1987. Oh my god. One of the funniest whodunit 80s slashers. This also has George Clooney in an early film appearance. Get killed off. What more can I say? Just watch the opening line. Just watch the opening scene on Netflix, and you won't want to stop watching it. That's how good it is. It's really confusing. You have to pay attention hardcore if you are going to watch it. I have to recommend that. And that's pretty much all of them that I went over. And other movies that I like to watch that aren't horror this time of year is Rudy, Varsity Blues. Then a couple other horror movies I didn't mention. One is Cry Wolf. This is one that was filmed in 2005, the fall of 2005. It was released in September. They marketed it awesome. It's where this serial killer is on campus, and they filmed it in the fall. So it's a bunch of great fall shots, really get you in that autumn. It's got really establishes that autumn feel, which is what you look for in films at this time of year. So anyway, I hope you check out at least one of those and tell me how it turned out. If you hate it, please don't blame me. I mean, I was just making a list. I mean, a lot of these films aren't that great, but they just like are that type of setting to get you in the back to school feel. Alright, you get the whole point. This was JBM from VillainNews. Thanks for watching. And if you got any other recommendations, like I could have named a bunch of more school themed, and then I'm sure there's a bunch that I forgot that are good that I should have mentioned. I'd like to hear. I'm out. Thanks for watching.